Ever find yourself, scrolling through a video, maybe a cooking tutorial, trying to find that one specific step, or just trying to get the gist without watching like the whole hour? It feels like we're just drowning in video sometimes.
It really does. The sheer amount of visual stuff we see every day is huge. And making sense of it quickly, that's the challenge.
Exactly. So that's what we're going to dig into today. We're looking at some pretty cool tech that helps us cut through all that video clutter. Our mission, basically, is to take these kind of complex ideas about smart video analysis and break them down, make them super clear, maybe using examples you'd find right in your own kitchen. Think of it like smart tools for understanding what you're seeing.
That's a great way to put it. And, our inspiration today comes from looking at how a platform, Supervisely, shows off this tech for medical videos. But the core concepts, they apply everywhere. Any video, any analysis, we're focusing on those big ideas.
Okay, so let's start with maybe the most fundamental bit, this idea of annotation. What exactly is that in simple terms?
Right. Think of it like putting virtual sticky notes or drawing circles on a video. You're marking what's important. Say you're watching that cooking show again.
Yeah.
And you want to flag every single time, say, flour is added, or every time a whisk is used. Doing that by hand, frame by frame for a long video, it would take forever.
Oh, absolutely. Mind-numbing work.
Exactly. And that's where these neural networks come in. Fancy term, but really, they're just very smart computer programs. They learn from examples. It's like how we learn to recognize things.
And they can do that highlighting job automatically.
Automatically, yeah. And incredibly fast, with really high precision. It's like having a super fast, super observant kitchen helper who never misses when you add salt or, when the butter melts.
Okay, I like that analogy, the tireless kitchen assistant. So how do you get these smart assistants working? You mentioned deploying them.
Yeah, you have to deploy them first.
Yeah.
It's kind of like getting a new appliance, maybe a smart coffee maker or something.
Yeah.
Take it out of the box, plug it in, get it ready on at the counter for its job. You basically select the specific smart tools, the neural networks you need for whatever task you have in mind.
Got it. Unbox the smart tools. So once they're deployed, how do they actually see things? How do they do the highlighting? You said there are a few ways.
Right. There are sort of three main approaches, depending on how much detail you need. Often the simplest way is using what's called a bounding box. Or you can just think of it as the square tool.
Okay, square tool. Sounds simple enough.
It is. It's the most basic way. You just draw a simple square or rectangle around an object once. Picture like a carton of milk on the kitchen counter. You draw a box around it in one frame.
Just once.
Yep, just the initial outline. And then the clever part is the smart assistant automatically tracks that milk carton. It follows it across loads of frames, even if the carton moves or you pick it up or turn it.
Wow, so it sticks with the object.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The source we looked at mentioned labeling, like 100 frames in under 2 minutes this way. Now, imagine you trying to manually draw a perfect box around that milk carton 100 times as it slides around.
Yeah, no chance. That's incredibly fast. It just keeps the box locked on.
Pretty much. Keeps that box around it, which is super useful for all sorts of things, not just kitchens.
Okay, so that's for simple shapes, like boxes. But what about, I don't know, something messier, like spilled batter on the floor? That's not a square.
Good point. That brings us to the second method, the shape tracer, or polygon tool.
Polygon. So more complex shapes.
Exactly. For things that aren't neat rectangles, you might roughly trace the outline. Think about the edge of a pancake cooking on a griddle, or, that splash of sauce on the wall. It's got a unique shape.
Right. Definitely not square.
So you give it that rough outline, and just like the square tool, the smart assistant tries to track that specific shape across the next frames. Our source says it does a pretty good job, but sometimes...
I might need a little help.
Yeah, you might need to nudge it a bit, readjust the outline if the shape changes too much, like if the pancake spreads out.
Yeah.
Just quickly fix the line, tell the tool, okay, keep going from here.
Okay, that makes sense. So you guide it when needed. Useful for things that aren't perfect geometric shapes. We've got boxes, we've got custom shapes. What's the third way? You mentioned more detail.
This is for when you need really precise highlighting, pixel level stuff. Let's say you want to highlight only the whipped cream on a slice of cake, not the cake itself, or maybe just the sprinkles on a cookie.
Ah, okay. Super specific.
This method is often called using masks or sometimes bitmap segmentation. It's more interactive.
Interactive how?
Well, you usually start with a general box around the area like before, but then you give it more clues. You place positive points, basically clicking on spots and saying, yes, this is the whipped cream. Yeah. And you place negative points, clicking nearby and saying, no, this bit here is cake crust, not whipped cream.
Got it. So you're teaching it the exact boundary with clicks.
Precisely. And the tool uses those points to figure out the very specific edge of what you want. And here's a really neat trick mentioned in the source material, something called clone figure.
Clone figure.
Yeah. Imagine you spent a moment getting that whipped cream outline perfect on one frame, using those positive and negative points. You can then hit a button, basically, and it automatically copies that detailed box and your points onto the very next frame in the video.
Oh, wow. So it carries your precise work forward.
It does. And the Smart tool uses those copied points as a really good starting guess for the next frame. It makes a prediction. Usually it's pretty accurate, so maybe you only need to make a tiny adjustment if the whipped cream jiggled a bit.
That sounds incredibly efficient. You do the hard work once, and then it's just quick tweaks.
Exactly. It's how these interactive tools get highly accurate results really quickly. You're not starting from scratch on every single frame. Think about medical images finding tiny anomalies or checking defects in tiny electronics. That precision is key.
Okay, that's really impressive. Highlighting objects in different ways? Is that all of these tools do? Just draw shapes?
Not quite. There's another layer, which is about tagging.
Tagging, like on social media?
Sort of, but for video content itself.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just highlighting an object, you can tag whole sections of video or individual frames based on what's generally happening.
How does that work? Give me a kitchen example.
Okay, imagine you want to find all the parts of your cooking videos where things get really steamy, like when you're boiling pasta. You can create a custom tag, maybe just call it steam.
Right.
Then as you watch, or as the tool watches, you can mark all the frames or segments where there's lots of steam. That steam tag then appears maybe in the corner for those moments. Or you could tag messy baking for all the clips involving flour clouds and the kids.
Huh. I could use that tag. So it helps organize.
Exactly. It helps you categorize your video content, making it much easier to search and find specific themes or moments later on. Super useful if you have like hours of home videos or recordings.
Okay, this is starting to paint a really clear picture. It seems like the big idea behind all these tools, the boxes, the shapes, the masks, the tags, is really about taking super repetitive, kind of boring manual work.
Yeah, the tedious stuff.
And just automating it, making it fast and accurate, turning hours into minutes.
That's the core benefit, absolutely. Yeah. We've sort of peeled back the curtain on how this smart tech works behind the scenes, these fancy-sounding things, neural networks, annotation types. They're really just clever ways of getting these super efficient digital assistants to handle visual info for us.
And the key takeaway really feels like it's about efficiency, but also precision. Getting the right information, whether it's a quick overview or a super detailed look, these tools are genuinely changing how we can understand and, organize all the visual stuff around us.
They really are. It makes processing all that information much more manageable.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Think about the videos you interact with every day. It could be home movies, tutorials you watch online, maybe even videos you create yourself. How could these kinds of smart kitchen assistants, as we've called them, evolve even further? How might they help you manage or understand or even create content more easily down the road?
Yeah, what other visual tasks that feel like a chore right now could become, incredibly simple in the future thanks to this kind of tech? It's definitely interesting to think about where it's all headed.